Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening for those that are dialing in from Nigeria, and good morning to those that are on the West Coast. We want to welcome you to today's event. We are really encouraged by the incredible show of support that has come. This came very quickly. This meeting was called yesterday, and it's just incredible how many people have registered. There's still additional people that are going to be trickling in. So please bear with us. But we're here for a very important reason. And I think one of the things that we have taken for granted for too long in Nigeria is the fact that we have lived in a nation for a very long time where injustice just appears to be the norm, where corruption is rife, and where abuse of power appears to go unchecked. But I think a time has come when those of us, we have to begin to speak up. A time has come when we need to begin to fight back. A time has come when we cannot sit by and allow truth and those who are bold enough to stand up and speak truth to power to be trampled upon by the injustice and the corruption in the land. So I'm encouraged by the numbers that have turned up today. I'm grateful and glad for those who are participating. My name is Malcolm Fabiyi, and today we're going to be hearing from a number of people. We'll be hearing from Omoyele Sowore later on. We'll be hearing from Tope Temokun, who is one of the lawyers for Dele Farotimi. He's on the Farotimi legal team. And we would also be hearing from Dr. Chidi Nwanyanwu, who is the convener, one of the members of TIB, the TIB movement that has been significantly involved in this effort. So there'll be a number of voices, and we'll be discussing with you some of the plans that are on the way in order to ensure that this particular effort, this cause that we're all focused on, that it's a cause that we'll be able to support and drive for as long as it's going to take. So let me just take a step back and situate us regarding the present situation. A man wrote a book, Dele Farotimi wrote a book. And that book was not a fictional book. The book was not about a fictional place called Nigeria. The book was not about a fictional judicial process. The book was not about fictional corruption in a fictional land. The book was about the reality of a country called Nigeria. The book was about the reality of the judicial system in Nigeria. The book was the reality of the judicial process in Nigeria. And there's nobody who lives in that country that is not aware of the fact that there is corruption and there's injustice in the judicial system. The politicians know that there's judicial corruption. They talk about it all the time. The judges themselves, just earlier today, there was a WhatsApp on some of the WhatsApp groups that I belong to. There was a video of Justice Ogie, a lady justice of the Supreme Court, where she was describing the corruption in the Supreme Court. This is a justice of the Supreme Court. It's not a surprise that there is injustice in the police system, in the law enforcement system. It's not a surprise that there's corruption in the law enforcement system. It's not a surprise that the Nigerian police is corrupt. What Dele Farotimi did, his offense, it appears, was having the audacity, the temerity, and the effrontery for having the guts to actually begin to give names to that corruption. His offense was daring to not speak about corruption in generic terms as most people do, but to actually begin to name what that corruption is. He named people, he named situations, he named a particular case, and he wrote a book. And from the time he wrote that book In fact, quite frankly, I am grateful for one thing. I'm grateful for the fact that this happened. Because the truth is, there were many people who did not even know that Dele had written a book. But what they've done is to take a book that maybe a few people that were aware that the book existed had read, and they've made it very clear. They've made it available. They've talked about it. They've raised issues about it. And now we all know that, yes, Dele indeed went beyond just speaking about corruption. Dele indeed went beyond just hypothesizing about corruption, that Dele went ahead and took a particular case study that he was intimately familiar with. And where is Dele now? Dele is in jail. Dele has been held in captivity. He's been locked up in a prison with hardened criminals. He was taken to court in handcuffs. And the supreme irony of it was that that same week, the former governor of Kogi State was waltzing into court with a battalion of supporters behind him, while a man, this was somebody who stole billions and penalized the state, and while a man whose only offense was speaking truth to power was being brought to court in handcuffs. And what the system has always relied on is the fact that we complain, but we do nothing. They know that we get angry and we vituperate on Twitter. They know we're going to send ourselves messages on WhatsApp groups. They know, they've always assumed that when we get angry about issues, that, just allow them a little time and everything will dissipate and fade away. Well, I think it's time for us to begin to let the system understand that that's not going to happen anymore, that we are going to begin to find ways to corral our anger, that we're going to begin to find ways to channel our energies. The system has always benefited from the fact that we've had very disparate voices, that even though we all feel the same thing and we feel the same pain, that we speak about that pain in very different ways, and we're almost always never able to coordinate and bring ourselves together and get organized. But we're starting to do that. We're starting to get organized, and this particular effort is just one that is intended to bring together a lot of the work that is being done across very many different groups in order to shine some light on what is happening with regards to Dele Farotimi. So here's what this group is about. This is not any single person's organization. This is a true coalition of efforts. So every single person on this call, and hopefully every single person that goes on this call will help us engage with, and every single person that is pained, annoyed quite frankly, at the injustice that is being meted out to Dele Farotimi. This is supposed to be a platform that will allow us to channel those energies together. And there are three things that we're trying to achieve with this platform. The first one is we need to raise a legal defense fund for Dele Farotimi. One of the ways that the system operates in Nigeria, and certainly Chief Afe Babalola is very much aware of that approach, is to stretch someone so thin financially that they give up. And so as we speak right now, Dele has cases in probably about 5 different courts. There's a case in Ado-Ekiti, 2 cases in Ado-Ekiti. There's a case in Lagos State. They've just opened another case in Rivers State. My understanding is there's another case in Abuja. And it would not surprise me if before the week runs out, there are cases in every single state where there's a court present, which is all the states of the Federation. They have the capacity to do so. If they do that, how is Dele going to defend himself? How are we going to raise lawyers that will be present in all those courtrooms? Because if lawyers are not present in those courtrooms, as frivolous as those cases might be, then obviously the case has been lost if you don't have representation. And so that's one of the tactics that's currently being utilized. But one of the messages we're going to send out, and that message is going to be loud and clear, is that they're not dealing with just Dele Farotimi. They're dealing with the Nigerian people. And if they like, they can open cases in every single magistrate court, in every single high court, in every court across the land. what we need to do as a united front is to ensure that the resources, the material resources, the lawyers, the funding that is necessary to ensure that Dele can mount a robust defense is made available. He will not stand alone. He is not standing alone. And the only way we can ensure that it is clear to everybody that they're not dealing with just Dele, but that they're dealing with a massive cross-section of Nigerians that are really annoyed at this abuse of the system that's taking place, is to ensure that we have a robust legal defense fund. We will announce how participation in that legal defense fund will take place. It will be donations. We will not make those announcements here. One of the things that will happen in this call is we will provide you with links. One of those links would be a sign-up link where you would provide us with your email addresses, your phone numbers, and we'll be able to engage with you and let you know how that legal defense fund is going to be supported. And then the other thing is we'll also provide you with a link to a WhatsApp community that all of us can then join, and information can be provided there. We are very well aware of the fact that there are people participating on this call that are just here to listen to what's going on and go back and report to the powers that be that these are the things that are being planned in support of Dele Farotimi. The second thing that we're trying to do with this coalition is to ensure that there's a coordination of all of the global efforts that are taking place. It doesn't matter where you are, wherever Nigerians are present around the world, there's a broad cross-section of Nigerians that are supportive of Dele and want to participate actively in ensuring that the travesty that is being carried out right now, the injustice that's been meted out to Dele, is met head on. But how do we make sure that our voices are not just echoes in the wilderness or in the darkness? So the effort here is to make sure we're coordinated. So part of, again, what we're going to do is we'll take everybody's details, those who wish to share those details, and we strongly encourage you to share them. These will be very secure platforms, so don't be afraid that your data is going anywhere. It is to enable us coordinate. And we're going to ensure that every single voice of Nigerians around the world, Nigerians at home, Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians situated in the country, every single voice that needs and wants to be raised in support of Dele Farotimi, that those voices will be heard and that those voices will be coordinated. And then the third thing we're going to do is we're opening a whistleblowers initiative. And this is why that's important. This case needs to be taken to a logical conclusion. We're going to fight this case to the end. Dele has already made it clear that he is not asking anybody to plead on his behalf. We're going to take this case to the logical conclusion. But this is what the people that Dele is facing, this is the reality. If this case was anywhere else in the world but Nigeria, Dele would have the right to subpoena the people he named. He would have the right to depose the Supreme Court justices, the judges that he has accused of corruption. He would have the right to depose the police. He would have the right to depose Chief Afe Balola himself. He would have the right to request for confidential information that they have so that he can exonerate himself. But we all know that is not going to happen. We know that he can depose anybody he wants to, but they won't come to court. And if they don't come to court, then what? We know that he cannot ask for those confidential records. We know that judgments were reversed and were rewritten, and people did it. And it is the right of the accused to actually ask for those people to come to court. But what if they don't come to court? Well, we have a plan. And so part of the effort we want to have here is we're going to have a whistleblowers initiative. There is no corruption that takes place in Nigeria that is not recorded or witnessed by someone. So if judgments were rewritten, clerks did the rewriting. If money is exchanged hands, there were bank accounts that those monies went to. There were people who took those monies wherever those monies were taken to. And in this era of BVN, there's practically not much that is hidden. So what we want to do is to make sure that we encourage and incentivize insiders who are aware of this corruption to come out and provide that information. Dele needs to be able to mount a robust defense. And if that means that we have to encourage whistleblowers to come out and provide that evidence, then so will it be. So these are the three things that this effort is, again, going to be focused on: the Legal Defense Fund, the coordination of the global support, and the Whistleblowers Initiative. And what I'll do now is there will be a survey to be filled, and we will drop that link in the chat. So you don't need to memorize anything. We'll actually drop it in the chat so that folks can fill that survey. There's a WhatsApp community to join. We'll make that available as well. And those are the announcements that we have for now. And if he is available, and Rachel, please confirm if Tope is available. I would like to invite Tope, who is one of the lawyers that is providing support for Dele Farotimi. I'll be inviting Tope Temokun. If Tope is available, Rachel, can you please bring Tope to the floor?
He's not available at this time. I'll let you know as soon as he is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Is Sowore on the call yet?
Yes, I believe so, but he kept dropping out. I'll just recheck that.
Okay, so please confirm if Sowore has finally been able to connect.
Yeah, so I'm just asking him to unmute. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. So Sowore, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for coming. This is quite an impressive number of Nigerians who are here today to remind the authorities in Nigeria that, and also Dele, that he's not alone. We were expecting Tope Temokun, who was the last lawyer of his, to see him in detention, to come in here today and discuss some of the personal conversations they had regarding this case. But since he's not here, I will just go straight to the points and where we are with regards to this case. You are all aware that it's not just the judiciary and Chief Afe Babalola and the aides that did this. It was actually a collusion between these three very powerful organizations or institutions and individuals. This Chief Afe Babalola and a bunch of lawyers in his law firm, the Nigeria Police Inspector General, and that's Kayode Egbetokun, was the one who mobilized policemen from Ekiti, from the former SARS unit known as RRS now in most formations across Nigeria, to go after Dele. And they were in Lagos for almost a week, sharing intelligence of his location. And Dele was aware of this and actually did a press conference. Then they abducted him, rough-handled his staff, stole some of their phones, and then drove him for about 8 hours from Lagos to Ado-Ekiti. We tracked him down there, and then the next day they took him to a magistrate court, who Tope was the first lawyer, that's Temokun, to appear before that magistrate. And typically, for those of you who are carpenters like myself, not lawyers, when you appear before a magistrate, is a court that has summary jurisdiction on a number of issues. One is that since it's a bailable offense, that the magistrate should have granted a bail right there after an oral application was made. Not because it is Dele, but it's because Dele is also a lawyer who, if he was kissing up to the Nigerian system, would have become a senior advocate of Nigeria by now. Dele has been practicing law for 25 years in Nigeria, but he abandoned the system a few years ago, of course, partly because of the reasons that he wrote his book. So the magistrate had been set up, the police prosecution, they all said, no, you can't apply orally for bail. Go and put in your bail application. A bail application was put in, and I think it was supposed to be held on December 10th. Then we decided that there would be a global protest against this. But because they were aware that this could snowball out of control. They took him to court on December 9th to a federal high court, charged with new sets of offenses. This time, they charged him with cybercrime offenses, which also being a crime that could lead to a jail term of more than 3 years, wasn't bailable. But interestingly, the federal high court, upon realizing that there may be problem because of the action that we had declared, granted Dele bail, even though the bail conditions were outrageous, as you all are aware now. That's going to provide a 50 million surety bond, also to provide somebody with a landed property in Ado Ekiti, and he's supposed to deposit his passport, but yet it wasn't a problem. So the next day, before we, of course, this could happen, there had been a meeting between Peter Obi and Afeba Balola, and that's completely made us, in our movement, which is Take It Back movement, to decide that since there was a meeting and this appeared to be something they were trying to resolve amongst themselves, we did step down action that ought to have taken place, because that was the expectation of the whole country, that since there has been a meeting, what could we decide, consider a reproach, or like some kind of reconciliation, since they know themselves. There was no point engaging in protest. So I'm explaining that as to the reason why this protest was stepped down. But we still, regardless, sent a delegation of our members to court, and a lot of lawyers appeared, including media. When they arrived court, Afeba Balola has mobilized thugs down to the court, coordinated by plainclothes policemen, and surrounded the court, threatened and even harassed some of our people, including lawyers that came to represent Dele in that. That was what transpired on December 10th. But the magistrate then, upon opposition by the police prosecutor, decided that they will not grant bail on that day because he wants to now rule on the bail. So he adjourned till 20th of December. That's this Friday. So now our suspicion is that if there's no pressure, if there's no fresh pressure, and not just pressure, that if we are not clear to these people that Nigerians are going to revolt over this matter, they will not still grant Dele bail on Friday. And that means Dele will not be able to be with his family for Christmas. And that means that these guys would have gotten away with injustices that they were perpetrating in this case, which I know very well how they operate, is to ensure that the punishment that doesn't even exist, because according to those who have done the research, there is no crime known as criminal libel in Ekiti law books, Ekiti state law books, but yet they're carrying out that illegality. You will find out that either the magistrate will not appear in court, or if he appears, he will deny him bail and continue to perpetually hold Dele in detention, which I describe as ransom. And we must, as a matter of urgency, figure out how to resist this and ensure that these people don't get away with this crime. This is my own submission as regards what has happened so far. A lot of people have been visiting Dele. We send somebody to see him in detention every other day. He's fine, he's in high spirit. His wife was there yesterday to see him. I spoke to her, briefly, and they're doing, he says Dele is doing well in there, but that's not the issue. Where we are now is that all of us have become Dele Farotimi. And as I have stated recently, the Nigerian judiciary has become our new NSAS in what they are doing in the judiciary. And Nigerians must let them know, just like we did to the Nigerian police during NSAS, that we are not going to give up until justice is done. And I want to also advise that this should not end here, because it's possible that Dele, out of fear, they might release Dele on Friday. I'm not saying they will do it, but it's possible. And we should not allow what happens to Nigerians and the short memories we have about egregious crimes committed against our humanity to take over again, we must pursue what we are doing. That's why Dr. Malcolm decided that we should call everybody here on this coalition to ensure that we continue to pursue justice, not just for Dele, but to ensure that justice is delivered to the Nigerian justice system appropriately and in the measure that would break the back of corruption and all the shenanigans that is going on out there in the justice system. So that's my submission, Malcolm. Thank you very much, everyone, once again for coming.
Thank you very much, Omoyele Sowore, for providing us with the backstory to where we are today, and also providing us with a sense for exactly where Dele's spirits are. You know, I'm sure most people believed that Dele would be in high spirits, but just getting the confirmation from you that you spoke with his wife, and she also confirmed that he continues to be in very high spirits is encouraging. Without wasting further time, I want to bring up to speak Dr. Chidi Nwanyanwu. Dr. Chidi is one of the leaders of the Take It Back movement. They've been very much involved in the struggle so far. And I want him to provide a sense for some of the efforts that are taking place in the diaspora. So what have people done so far? And understanding what has been done so far, I think will also provide us with a good sense for what else can be done. So Dr. Chidi, please, if you are on, kindly, Rachel, if you can kindly put him off mute so that he can join us and provide us with an update.
I've given him permissions to unmute, just waiting to hear from him now.
Okay, thank you so much, Malcolm. Thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. I've long waited for this, and I'm just the most, I'm the happiest person. I know there would have been more people on this call, but for what the government has done in Nigeria, where they're using this fear tactics to prevent people from, speaking up. And so a lot of people find it difficult to sign in. If anything has to do with them putting down their names, they are so scared because the government has been pushing this propaganda that they are monitoring you. They are doing that. By the way, let me pause and thank every member of the DSS that is present in our midst, every member of the police, army, whatever you are. We know you're here, we recognize you. And just so you know, like I normally say, touch your neighbor and say, hey, neighbor, how did they know that I'm here? Yes, we know. And but let me go straight to what I want to talk about today. You see, we are tired, though. We are tired of being in a country. Do you understand where they've put us to? That you are in Nigeria, you are a citizen of the country called Nigeria, and you are a slave in your country. It has gotten so bad that the people that think they own the country, like Omoyele Sowore just said right now, the members of Afe Babalola and some of the lawyers and the police and all this, like they will sit down, they will hold a meeting and decide who they want to be, who they want the person to be. And they actually, you see, Dele Farotimi knew about this. But even though he knew about it, it wasn't going to stop them. They are so emboldened now that they can actually go ahead and carry out their plan and send whoever they want to go and pick up whoever they want and put the person wherever they want, and nothing can be done about it. You see, for me, for a lot of people in my shoe, for the regular carpenter, truck pusher, regular people like me, it's not about Dele Farotimi. It's about getting back a country that has been taken from me. That I am in I can't even talk. When I want to talk, I have to look left, right, where? And that it is no longer possible for me to tell somebody that, hey, if you try any nonsense, we shall see in court. Why? Because the court has already been bought over. The court used to be like the last hope of the common man. Now the judiciary is absolutely nonsense. Look at where we are. Look at the people that are leading us. Look at the leadership of the country. Look at the president. How did they get there? Because the judiciary literally disappointed. The judiciary sabotaged us in Nigeria, and that's where we find ourselves. We cannot contribute anything concerning our finances. We cannot contribute anything. We cannot contribute any. We don't have a say about our hospitals. People are dying. We don't have a say about our security. We don't have a say about nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you want to tell me it's a country? And then when somebody gets up to speak on our behalf, they silence that person and they ask us, do your worst. My question is, are we going to respond to this challenge? Because they threw a challenge at our feet. They say, do your worst. If you know that the country belongs to you, if you know that you have power, if you know that you can do it, we have done our own. And it's not just that we've done our own, we have plans to do more. So you cannot tell me that we're just going to fold our hands and not do anything. That is why I'm so happy for what is going on. Because you see, now we own the country. It belongs to us. I live in Canada here, but I feel like a stranger here. Nigeria belongs, that we own her. The people that think they own it, no, they are the people in government. We put them there. They are our servants. They are supposed to be serving us, but we are slaves in our country. I don't know about you. If this did to Dele Farotimi and so many other people, a few days ago, a nurse was taken from a location and moved to Abuja. And the next thing I'm hearing about this cyber crime, just like you have EFCC, there's a new one now that they can detain you in the cyber crimes, whatever. Do you understand? Today is Farotimi, tomorrow you don't know who. And if they do one, all the people that have been speaking on our behalf, they've been touching them one after the other. We didn't do anything. So they upgraded. They do another person. They watch. We don't do anything. Now they did this man now, and we don't do something. I don't know how to speak English, so I don't know the logistics. I don't know the legal things. But what I know is that enough is enough. Here in Canada, I know I can't be protesting in Nigeria, but at least I know where I can take my concerns to. And that's why we went to Amnesty International. And now we've reported them, we submitted a paper there. You know, one thing that they've done in Nigeria is they've decided to be taking people for granted. In Igbo, they have a proverb. No one able one kita. You see, that death that is going to kill a dog, it makes it not to even perceive, naturally in our local environment. When dog can no longer smell shit, say that dog don't go now. So I think what's happening to Nigeria, and especially the judiciary, is that they're no longer reasoning. That death that is coming to catch them now is making them not to think, not to see. The same way it caught them during NSAS, I think it's about to happen again. They are thinking that we don't have any power. They are thinking we cannot do anything, but we have started. So thank you so much for the guys who started all this. I am committed to giving my all, to mobilizing anywhere I am. Thanks to the guys in Nigeria who are mobilizing, who will be protesting. We are all going to do this and we'll succeed. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Dr. Chidi, for those extremely rousing words. So Tope Temokun is with us. Tope is one of the lawyers that is on the Dele Farotimi defense team. So without wasting any further time, Rachel, can you please bring Tope to the floor? so that he can give us an update on what is going on with Dele, tell us his current state of mind, and Tope, if you can also share with us what the next steps are. I know there's a court case on Friday. If you can just provide us with an update of where things are. Thank you. Sorry, Tope, can you hear me? Okay, we can't hear you clearly. So maybe, can you turn off your camera? And maybe it's a bandwidth issue. So turn off your camera and let's see whether we can hear your voice more clearly.
Although I think he also joined with another device.
So you want to unmute the other device for Tope?
It doesn't have audio.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
Are you hearing me?
So go on. It's not very clear, but if you can just please take it slowly so that hopefully we'll be able to hear you. Sorry, Tope, we can't hear you. So Tope, can you, if you turn off your camera, try speaking again. If you turn off the camera on this device you're on, and then just speak again. Let's see if that would be better. So Tope, do you want to try again?
I think he's dropped off and may try to dial back in.
Okay. All right. So while we're waiting for Tope, I know that a lot more people have joined us. So what I'll just do while we're waiting for Tope to rejoin is I'll just very quickly again go over the reason why we're here and some of the things that we're trying to do. So again, all of us are here for one reason. We're here because we do not support injustice. We're here because we support Dele Farotimi's righteous fight against injustice and against corruption in the Nigerian judicial system. And one of the things we wanted to make sure did not happen in this case was that our anger as Nigerians and our displeasure with the system would not just fritter away in our individual corners and circles, that we needed to find a way and a platform to ensure a coalition, a true coalition, to ensure that all of us can actually bring all those different voices together and work together to make sure that the plans that the system has for Dele does not come to bear. And there are three things we want to do with this coalition. The first one is to make sure that Dele can defend himself. So already there are cases in 5 different courts. It means there are going to be different sets of lawyers, sometimes depending on the timing and the scheduling of cases. And again, one of the things the system does is it would not be surprising to us if over the next few weeks, there are more cases in more courts. So how does Dele defend himself? Because any court he doesn't appear in, any court where there are no lawyers, is going to be a court where he loses the case. And at the end of the day, these lawyers, yes, there are many of them, like Tope and others, that are doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. But if this is going to be a sustained fight, then we must fight beyond just the goodness of our hearts. And so part of what we're trying to do is to make sure we raise a legal defense fund for Dele, a fund that will ensure that it doesn't matter where the cases are set up, it doesn't matter how many cases there are, it doesn't matter what the complexity of those cases are, that we provide the means and the resources to fight those cases to a conclusion. What they are hoping for was that it would only be Dele alone and a few people who support him, who are lawyers, that will be fighting this cause. They've made a big mistake. Nigerians are going to support this cause to the end. We will resource it. We will fund it. There are already lawyers that are providing their services pro bono. But whatever we need to make sure that this case gets fought, we will do. So the first thing is a legal defense fund. The second one is just the coordination of global support. So Dr. Chidi came on earlier. The TIB movement has already made some overtures. They've reached out. They've started pressurizing governments and institutions and organizations in North America. Some similar efforts are taking place here in the US. Other efforts are taking place in the UK. And there's obviously a lot of efforts that are taking place on the ground in Nigeria. So what we want to do is to make sure that we are coordinating across the world and that all of the work that we're doing is in alignment so that we can take all of these different energies and channel it towards one thing. And if there are complementary things we can do, then we'll do them. But having a single voice, a single platform that is able to bring everybody together, we think is going to be absolutely important. The third one is a whistleblowers initiative. And one of the points that I made earlier was, if this case was anywhere else but in Nigeria, Dele would have the rights to subpoena and depose all of the people that he has accused. He will be able to bring Supreme Court justices and put them on the hot seat and have them answer tough questions. He will be able to subpoena bank records. He will be able to subpoena, the administrative goings-ons in the courts, because one of the very clear things he has, one of the allegations, the things he made very clear in the book, was that there were certain judgments that were rewritten. But we know that even if Dele was to subpoena all these people, they would simply refuse to turn up. How would he defend himself? But one of the things we know is that corruption doesn't happen in a vacuum. There's a clerk that took the corrupt proceeds somewhere. There is a court registrar that understands what administrative mishandlings were done. There's a bank teller that knows what money transfers were made. And so what we want to do with the Whistleblowers Initiative is to make sure that every single person that is an insider to this corruption can come out and securely provide the information that is needed by Dele to exonerate himself, but beyond that, the information that is needed by Nigerians to actually begin to see the enormity and the depravity of the corruption that exists in our country. So what this Whistleblowers Initiative will do is two things. One, will create a very secure platform, a digital platform where such information can be provided. And then secondly, we will incentivize these whistleblowers. We will reward the whistleblowers who bring information that is germane to the case and germane to the defense. So those are the three critical things. And now that Tope is back in, I'll stop and we'll bring Tope back. And hopefully this time we will be able to hear him clearly. So Tope, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
Am I clear now? Right? Hello, sorry, is it?
Go on. You're clearer now. You're much clearer than before.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I don't know whether I'm far from the I appreciate the efforts of communities across based on this initiative, and I think the point I picked from the last submission made on the issue of isolation. It's very easy to isolate an activist just for the purpose of destroying him, and make him feel as if destroying is a destructive one. But now that we have come up with a team, to ensure that just to comrade me, stand to society, and justice because if you look at the strategy of after the arraignment, after the was on the declaration that protest at various points across Nigeria for the purpose of getting bail for Omoyele Farotimi. But after the visit of Mr. Peter Obi and the information that got into town that they have started begging, there was a very radical turn of tide against us, against the movement. It was like a graveyard silence on our part. Why these people mobilized? They retooled their forces and they took over the space, taking over the space by filing cases here and there. Their allies. They begin to say why Dele Farotimi. Where we begin, all of us have been demoralized. I don't let particularly from me to know his state of mind, whether he has given his mandate. Those people that have visited If you have this money, never business in this wrong way. If they have the mandate, that means to be appreciated him. He made himself very clear on what we are doing, on what is expected. Our position or presentation.
Sir, please, could I ask the barrister if you can hear me? Please turn off your camera. Please turn off your camera so we can have audio only.
I'm trying to talk to people.
Great, that's great. The video is off. Please continue.
So can I? Are you hearing me now?
Very clearly, thank you.
So they took over the space, but after the visit, we got that mandate from him that is clearly against any form of apology. He's clearly poised at coming out to defend himself. And that is why this new trend of discussions and interrogations are taking place. And the only plea I will make is that having started on this part again, having begin to reinterrogate this process, is for us not to give a gap. I have seen the clearly earmarked programs for this movement. The whistleblower aspect is very, 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 very important. That area is very, 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 very important. I have discussed with some people, and I've made this clear categorically. Has made these allegations, and people have said it's very difficult to prove. There are some basic things that are possible if only we have a discreet way of bringing people on board. What is lacking is courage. There are 90% of people that have information that even Mr. Dele Farotimi did not even have while making those allegations that will be of help to this struggle. So when we now begin this process of whistleblower, you will see that a lot of things will come up, which is initiative I also appreciate. And in the course of mobilizing against the court, I will also still say that to leave a gap in this process is what is actually giving opportunity for the opponents to have a room to fight back. If we don't give a gap, having started this process, if we do not leave a gap, every single day, one program, no matter what, if it is just a release, if it is just media interaction, if it is just interview, if it is just discussion, once we don't give a gap, and whatever we do, we take it out there to discuss it, with the world before the court appearance. I am sure there will not be room for them to be able to even reactivate their energy and carry on with this kind of attack. And if by the grace of struggle, Dr. Farotimi is out of prison, I am sure we'll have a lighter work to do, because he's not out now. And processes, of course, they are being served on him in prison. When he comes out, hopefully, whatever assistance, whatever information assistance he has, whatever intelligence gathering he has, and if it is just 10% of what people thought he knew that is able to bring out, I am very sure it's going to help us a lot, and that the coordination should continue. If the program of event continue, I think mobilization to court is also very, very important. With all this strategy, I am sure that we have the day. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Barrister Tope, and I want to thank you and the legal team for all the work that you guys are doing. And what we can assure you of is that what we've started today, we're not going to relent. A lot of people are taking their time and their efforts. Again, we want to thank everybody from the diaspora, and especially folks that are in Nigeria, that are, by participating in this call, making it clear that we're putting our mouths and our bodies and our actions into this fight. So this is a fight for the long run. This is a fight for justice. This is a fight that is going to be fought in the courts. It's going to be fought in the press. It's going to be fought on the ground. But whatever it takes, those of us that are on this call made it clear that we're in this for the long haul. So here's what we would please ask everybody to do before this call ends. We need you to fill out this survey. What the survey does is it allows us to have your details, your email addresses, your phone number, so we can contact you. We can let you know what's happening. You may happen to be in Ekiti. There might be a court case in Port Harcourt. This will allow us to reach you, to provide you with information. It will allow us to actually gather together and group people according to where they're based and help us with the coordinating effort. So that's why we need those details. When you open it up, it will also ask you what ways, the different ways in which you want to support this cause. Is it with donations? Is it in kind? Is it with helping to build awareness? Is it with helping to drive advocacy on social media? So please, it is absolutely crucial that you please kindly sign into that survey. And then the other one is we need you to join the, there's a WhatsApp community that has been formed. Please join. Again, it would help us with coordination. That is where we would be. And I've just put in the chat. So please, everybody on the call right now, kindly go into the chat, kindly fill in the survey, kindly join the WhatsApp community, and the additional instructions about what will happen and when they will happen will be communicated there. And so please, I leave you with this call to kindly fill the survey and please join the WhatsApp community. Thank you all for participating in today's conversation. There will be many more conversations. This will, we actually already have at least one that is planned potentially for either Friday, which is the day of the court case in Ekiti, or on Sunday. So we will be communicating, but all further communications will be coming through the WhatsApp groups, and then please fill the survey so that we can reach out to you as well. Thank you very much, and that is the end of our conversations for today. Stay blessed, and let's keep up the fight.